To start off, please, for the love of God, shut up about, yeah, it's an adult show, there's gonna be adult humor. You can't just have your only exposure to adult animation be Family Guy and shitty YouTube animations and say this is peak adult humor. Sorry for the hostile opening, but it's genuinely getting to me a lot. It really grinds my gears when people want to defend the show's writing with that rebuttal all the time. It's not a real defense to me, and if you can explain to me the layers, the complexities behind these ridiculous jokes, I'd be happy to listen. I'd be more than happy to hear what the in-depth genius is. I do want to understand why people find Blitz screaming about his tight red hole or not knowing how to give head because he's a top funny. I want to know what's the complexity there. A lot of the jokes in Helluva are just extremely shallow. They're mostly shock value gore or just obsessing over genitals without like real setup, nothing. It's just like it's grade 6 humor. That's what it is. Now, I wouldn't be as annoyed by this mindless humor if the show wasn't trying to get you to care about the deep writing and the struggles of these characters and present itself. Initially, I remember the show being kind of like it felt like a teenager show where they're just like doing stupid stuff and they're being loud and crass, and I was like, whatever, it's for teenagers. From what I know, Viv is trying to call it an adult show. It has the adult thing at the beginning of every episode, which it's defeat. The sound of defeat in my voice. I'm sorry. They'll spend so many episodes trying to develop Blitz, showing him struggle with fatherhood, the mistakes of his past, which are so vague and never actually explained, parent trauma, and apparently classism, which doesn't really present itself very well in the show. He's got a whole slew of problems, which I'm going to be addressing in a somewhat organized fashion, although I do apologize in advance. I know this will likely be all over the place. I didn't really know how to organize this very well. Let me start off with the fact that I hate that he's our protagonist. In fact, I'll say it, I wish Moxxie and Millie were our main characters. Maybe then we get to see more of Millie getting something. Blitz would be funnier as a side character who's an unsympathetic jerk. We already know that he stalks them outside of work and tries to get in on their private time together. He'll ask other couples who's the top and who's the bottom or something like that, which is like annoying because I get it. It's supposed to be some sort of ironic parody on how straight people always ask who's the woman's in the relationship or something. The joke still just doesn't work to me because, like, come on, you're a gay guy. You know that this is like an uncomfortable question and like it's just not funny. I'm sorry. Maybe the most I can compliment on him is the name Blitz and kind of the design. It's pretty ugly to me, but I guess it's a bit different from the typical suit and bow. Cool spikes. Anyway, the character is just so all over the place. It's a mess of tones and so many things that feel pointless. One other thing I'll say I do like about his character is the circus episode, or the flashbacks he has with Fizz early too. I like when we see him younger, and it establishes, we see he has identity issues, which all the characters have, which is kind of boring. Although I thought it was really cute when we got to see how ambitious he's always been about like having his own circus or his own business. And personally, I don't mind that they add in the lore that he knew stolas for a long time. Sure, that's not how they first established them, but you know, I think it's a good idea to make them work, and I think adjusting the lore around it is fine. The idea that maybe stolas knew him as a child, they could have gone with this direction of like they were friends as kids and stolas learned to see imps as fellow people and he never like looked down on imps because of that. And maybe they could have stuck to that more, but they don't really, because he still does sort of present classism towards them or like belittle them. It doesn't really seem like the backstory doesn't really seem to serve an actual purpose other than to have you sympathize with stolas more. It's more to explain why his night with Blitz meant so much to him. There's a major tone problem with Blitz's character too, which I'm sure there's a major tone problem with his character too, which I'm sure has been said many times before. In the earlier days of the show, we established that he's a crass, rude, and all around a very unlikable character. Of course, this is fine. If you wanna have a protagonist that's hateable, plenty of medias do this. And if you want to have a redemption arc for your character too, by all means, let's see it. The audience loves to see our main character get better. They don't entirely commit to this, however, and it's executed just so poorly. Blitz is supposed to be slowly becoming a better person, from what I understand. He's supposed to be developing as a father and a partner, I guess. I don't really know what direction this character's supposed to be going in. He's supposed to be learning that he was terrible in the past to his exes and his mother, so then he does what? He reconciles with Fizz over the fact that he abandoned him, even though the whole circus was on fire, and I would not blame a child for fleeing from a situation like that. He sees Arasaka's hate party about him and all the hundreds of people who attend it to cope with each other. Now, I've said this before, but it's so ridiculous that we're just supposed to accept that this is a thing that goes on, and Blitz is really that awful of a person. Like, yeah, he is annoying, but like I want to hear actually specific things he did to these people, not just in general bad things. When have they ever actually told us what he did wrong? Never. I don't think we've actually learned the sins of his past. In the Ghost episode, we see him haunted by visions of how he's never gonna get better, and he sees his mother burning. It's kinda hard to feel anything for him though, because after this whole emotional episode, he just goes on making pegging jokes at Moxxie's expense with Millie. And in Mastermind and Sinsmith, we have him ready to sacrifice himself for his gang and trying to help Stolas adjust to life as a lower class citizen. You'd think that'd be pretty sweet, right? But no, he's still a complete jerk in between all these, and this is particularly shown in the shorts. He's screaming at the orphan guy that Luna is trying to have a heart-to-heart with and trying to have some independence, time to talk to someone who understands her. He's bashing that guy's skull in. He's still being the old rude jerk that we always see. And he's in the driving episode, he's like crashing all around. It's just, he's still being the same person. He's still being a complete buffoon. He only spares that one gay couple in that episode, Sinsmith, because they remind him of him and Stolas. Millie calls out how absurd it is and that they still have a job to do, but of course no one cares what she has to say. I really don't get what the scene is trying to accomplish in the first place. It's framed sympathetically for Blitz as if they want us to see this as development for him, but it just really isn't. He's still gonna be killing others without hesitation, especially if they're straight, I guarantee. And like, he's still been hired to kill a target. They try to frame the woman who hired them as someone you're supposed to hate too, like an antagonist. She's mad that her husband cheated on her with another man, which is completely reasonable. Stolas weeps over it, about how the man deserves to die, and Blitz is kind of like trying to defend the cheating for some reason. I guess because Stolas was in a similar situation, so he's trying to see it through that perspective, which really doesn't make sense. And when we do get to the family, like I already said, he's never once shown remorse before this. I just despise how everything about this, they end up throwing the lady out the window who hired them instead. I mean, is this not just another blatant example of misogyny from the writers too? I've seen that one video essay on the misogyny of Helluva Boss, and Blitz is a pretty awful character in that regard. He's always using degrading terms for women, and I'm sorry, just because he's a sassy gay guy does not excuse it. I've seen people talk about this online too in general, how this is kind of a problem, where for some reason when straight men use like derogatory terms for women or like put them down, it's horrible, right? Obviously. But when it's a gay guy, he's just being like sassy, and it's just like, it's a little quirky trait, and it's not actually treated with the weight that it should be. And that's kind of what I feel like is going on with Blitz, calling women all these horrible things, and it's just, oh, he's just being Blitz, he's just being him. it's not funny. I know it's a woman writer, but she can still have her own internalized misogyny, or she knows it's misogynistic, she knows it's bad, and she just doesn't care enough. Another problem I have, now this is just a personal gripe, I hate the like dorky derp faces they draw him having, or like the sort of Tumblr humor he's got of like, in Weeaboo, I'm literally just standing here, lady. And the off time blinking, what's it called? Frog blinking, I think that's a very common thing they animate, which annoys me because I just like, I know they're just trying to make it quirky. Maybe that's a bit of me just being overly hateful there. If you guys remember the digital artist humor thing, I feel like it's very present in this character. Overall, his character really annoys me just because I'm sorry, I've said this before, I really hate Brandon Rogers' humor. I find it very annoying. The constant, like, again, the constant sex jokes. Instead of saying let's go kick some ass, let's go lick some ass. Oh, haha, mine's better because it's gayer. I guess, sure, you changed one letter and it was funnier, I guess. It's not though. And there's so much like fake development with them. It doesn't go anywhere, and the emotional moments don't really have any weight because, like I said, he just kind of goes back to being a jerk to everyone, and it doesn't feel deserved. The one time I did sympathize with him was when he was fighting with Stolas and saying how Stolas has been looking down on him, treating him worse, and then Stolas is like saying how he doesn't look down on him and how he's been trying to make them equals, even though he hasn't. Their whole relationship is just, it's a whole problem. I'll be making a video on the relationships in the Helluverse and all the problems I have them, and the specific theory I have about them, which I will cover. But yeah, I could have made this video a lot longer, I know. It's just, I don't feel like sitting through the whole show again to get all of the scenes of him. I find it really hard to sit through the show, especially when it's scenes with Blitz, and Blitz is in most of the scenes. When I'm making videos about these characters, I tend to look up like just scenes of a specific character, like Verosika or Millie, or just specifically them, because I can't bring myself to sit through an entire episode where Blitz is just being loud and crass, and just like, I don't know how to specifically say it, but something about the style of that humor really bothers me. Maybe it's just because it's more for a younger audience and I'm too old to find it funny. I really want to know what you guys think of his character. I want to know what makes you like him, or more things about him that you don't like. I tried to write down everything I could remember that I don't like about Blitz. So hopefully I cover the majority of it. If not, I don't care too much, because I'm sure someone in the comments will bring to light a bigger problem that I have with Blitz, and I'll be like, why didn't I think of that? So anyway, sorry if you can hear noise in the background. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all those great things. And I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.